are staying here from the previous talk, there is one additional thing that I would like to add. Formal verification is super cool, really support this development. But if you're looking for true performance and really validated EVM through the formal methods, which are just running it against the test suite, the Ethereum test suite, so the only Rust implementation of the EVM that runs all green on all the test suite from the Ethereum Foundation is the Aurora's implementation of the Rust EVM. It is fully open source. You can use it right now. You can contribute into it right now. I invite you to Aurora's near GitHub and jam there. However, we are not going to talk today about the EVMs. We are going to talk today about the centralized exchanges and their backends. And centralized exchanges have been a cornerstone of all of the crypto. If you will think of everything that, again, the majority of what you see in crypto, it's not happening on Ethereum, it's not happening on Solana, it's not happening anywhere. It's happening on Bitcoin, Ripple, Cardano, Dogecoin and stuff like that. These are the projects without runtimes. These are the projects where you don't have decentralized exchanges, and the only way how you are able to get the exposure of the corresponding assets, which can altogether forming around 80% of the total value of the crypto. So the only way how you can onboard into these assets is through the centralized exchanges. And centralized exchanges have extremely great user experience. Raise your hands who have the account in centralized exchange. Is one? Quite a lot of us. And they have great user experience. They're a great onboarding tool. They are also accepting cards, so you can onboard into crypto through the card from the centralized exchange, and you can easily get all of these different assets. That's great. However, there are some problems. There are fundamental limitations of the centralized exchanges. The first of all is that you actually cannot verify what is happening inside of these centralized exchanges. Do they have enough reserves? And maybe somebody, some kind of curly hair guy is using the funds instead of holding it in the reserve into investing into something, right? And then it becomes in the major blow-ups that estimated in billions, right? Nobody wants to be in that place. Nobody wants to have this centralization risk, right? Or the risk of misuse of the funds. And another thing is that the centralized exchanges are kind of a target for regulation. And I'm saying regulation not in a kind of positive way, because I do believe that regulation is really good. But the thing is that pretty often regulation itself is done not in a very appropriate ways, right? So that there is an extremely hard onboarding because of this. And if I would like to trade my crypto into crypto, and I'm not touching fiat, since I can't do this on Uniswap already without any KYC, why I cannot do it the same way on the crypto exchange? Right? That's a little bit annoying, isn't it? And I think what we can do better is to build a DEX. Yeah, it would be a nice pitch, probably like 4 years ago. But actually what we're missing right now for the DEXs is that they are not multi-chain. I cannot swap my Doge into XRP on the decentralized exchange. Or do I? Maybe by the end of this talk you will know that we actually can do this. And I would like to continue with a thing that one guy that I admire a lot told me once. He said that the special relativity theory is a goat. But the only thing that is cooler is order book DEXs. Hopefully you know this guy. And the order book DEXs, especially multi-chain order book DEXs, is something that is new, that is coming into the crypto scene this year, or like started last year. So these order book decentralized DEXs that can substitute the backends of centralized exchanges, they do exist. And they actually are in production right now, and you are able to experience one of such solutions that we've built for the Near protocol together, Near and Aurora. We've built it, and it is available on near-org, near-intense.org. You can try it out right now. Now, what is this, right? I already said that this is a multi-chain DEX, but I'm thinking of it as a solution that delivers like 4 layers of abstraction to the users. The first one is kind of the chain abstraction. If you're going to get there, you're going to feel all of the experience of the centralized exchange. You have a deposit inside of the protocol. You are able to execute swaps. Then after the deposit, and then you are able to withdraw. But when you're doing the swaps, you are not thinking about the chains itself where you're doing. The USDC is a USDC, and that's it. Exactly the same way how USDC is just only USDC on Binance. USDT is the same. Turbo token is available on Solana and BSC and Ethereum mainnet, but it is just the same token. And you are not mixing up, you are not clogging your mind with thinking about the chains where the tokens are. That's the first part of the abstraction that is happening. You stop thinking about the chains where things are. The second piece of the abstraction is the wallet abstraction. You're able to log into this solution with your Phantom wallet. You're able to log in with MetaMask, with other wallets, compatible wallets. You're able to connect with Near wallet, and very soon, and this is the alpha link to everybody who are here, you will be able to connect there with your passkey, so even without a crypto wallet. And the reason why it works like that is because when you're using the solution, you are actually not sending any transactions. You are signing messages that then get settled on the level of the Near protocol, but you actually don't see. You are not responsible. The user is not responsible for this. The third part of the abstraction is the token abstraction. I already was saying this piece. Sorry. And the last one is the contract abstraction, and especially in the light of the recent news that are happening in crypto, this becomes more and more important. Instead of calling unknown transactions and unknown smart contracts with a blind sign-in, when you do not understand what is going to happen, you are either signing messages, and then it's just a signed message. This is not a transaction that is going to be executed. Or you are transferring funds into the deposit address. And this is just the ordinary fungible token transfer, or the base token transfer. There is no call of the smart contracts, which means that if you have your own cold wallet, then the funds that are staying in this cold wallet, which are funds at rest, they don't have any risks associated with the funds that are in motion and deposited inside of this solution. This separation of risk concerns is very important, and especially in this in the crypto environment, when we see lots of hacks, lots of wrong transactions being substituted, kind of being injected into the user by faulty backends, faulty frontends. Now, how does all of this magic work, right? It seems like I'm talking about a solution that just cannot work like that. In fact, it works because of the scalability and because of the great technological infrastructure pieces of the Near protocol. So, on top of the Near protocol, we do have one order book where we have all the information about the, not order book, but the gigantic ledger, where we have the information about who owns which crypto. And this smart contract, through a solution that is called chain signatures, is controlling deposited assets on other chains. And what chain signatures allow you to do is that Near smart contracts are able to have keys that are stored in the MPC network, and these keys correspond to the deposit addresses on other chains. And this is how these smart contracts own crypto on XRP and Bitcoin and Dogecoin and other chains. And once the transaction is incoming, once the user is willing to create a swap inside of this platform, they are asking a solution that is called a solver relay or a solver bus for a quote. And there are specific parties that are connected and then listening to these requests, which are called solvers or market makers. And they are providing their price quotes to the front ends that are connected to the solver relay. So the user says, I would like to sell 1 Bitcoin into USDT. And solvers are seeing this request, giving the answers to this front end, together with signed commitments for swap for a very short period of time, actually. So solvers are already giving everything to the user that is enough for him to execute the actual transaction and actual swap. And in case the user is okay with the price, he clicks yes, perform the swap, and then the only thing that user signs is the message, which represents the signed commitment to counter trade what the solvers are giving to him. And later on, the solver relay, once all the commitments are collected, solver relay just executes this as a single near transaction, which is atomic. And within this transaction, there is no slippage. And the user gets exact amount of money that was provided to the user within the quote. And the smart contracts then on near this gigantic ledger, what it does, it just checks 3 things. First one is that all of the signed commitments are signed correctly. So solver has the proper signature, user commitment has a proper signature. The second thing is that everybody, all of the parties who are going down in some amounts of tokens, so user selling 1 Bitcoin, so that the user actually has 1 Bitcoin deposited into the system, and solver has 93k USDT, right? And the last thing that is checked is that there are no tokens that are created or burned within this transaction, right? So that the balance of the tokens stay constant. And this is how things are working. And Neo protocol is completely hidden from this schema. You never see that this is happening on Near. But what it delivers to you a cost of transaction on Near being below 1 cent, which means that even small trades can be happening. The second thing is scalability. Because Near is a sharded blockchain, this thing is able to execute millions, or is not yet millions, but at the moment is hundreds and probably thousands of transactions per second for the trades. But Bowen and other guys from the protocol team are working hard to make sure that it is actually getting to million transactions per second. And the last thing is that the finality, or the moment, the time that it takes to clear the transaction and to settle this trade is extremely low, is 2 seconds. So because of all of that stuff, I'm able, in a decentralized manner, deposit my Bitcoin. It is going to take 10 minutes of deposit, because this is how long a Bitcoin transaction takes. I can deposit it into this protocol and then sell it in small chunks every 2 seconds into XRP, into Doge, into whatever I want, into WIF if you want, and stuff like that. There are quite a lot of things that we are working on in order to extend this protocol. By the way, this thing is an open protocol. It is completely open source. Smart contracts are open source. The front-end implementation that you are going to see on near-intents.org is an open source front-end. This is a reference implementation of the front-end that you're able to take and integrate inside of your own applications. Again, we are not trying to convert Near into decentralized exchange. There is no target for this, but rather to give the tools and to give infrastructure for everyone to integrate such a solution inside of their applications. But we're continuously working on extending this protocol. So obviously there is a track for adding new chains, and next week we're probably going to launch additional EVM chains like BNB and some others. We are looking into integrating more complicated runtimes like Tron. We are even working on the Zcash integration. The beauty of the chain signature solution that is given to us is that we don't need to deploy smart contracts on all of these chains in order to integrate it into the solution. And there is not a lot of work that we need to do to integrate these chains, and that's the kind of USP of near-intense protocol in comparison with other multi-chain nexus, that we are able to work with non-smart contract assets or with assets with strange runtimes like Cardano. We are continuously supporting more solvers or more market makers that are joining the system, right? It's just like an ongoing support work for more solvers coming in. There is a support for front-end integration. We are willing to do one-step logic or one-transaction logic for deposit, swap, and withdraw for those people who are actually willing to use it only for one swap. I don't want to deposit my Bitcoin and then trade in chunks a little bit for an extended period of time. But I, for example, would like to get all of my SOL, or get some SOL, sell it into USDC and withdraw it into Base, right? And I just want to have one transaction. It's much better to just do one transaction on Solana for deposit and then subsequent swap and withdraw into Base. We are working on the off-chain peer-to-peer trades. Obviously, since this is an order book, people can trade peer-to-peer. So if I and my buddy, we agreed to make a trade of 1 million of my shitcoin into 1 million of his shitcoin, I pre-sign my commitment to trade with him. I'm sending him a link, and he's going to counter-sign this commitment, and then the same settlement is happening in just 2 seconds. And we're working on additional DeFi. However, and there are a bunch of other things, right? However, I would like to put an emphasis on the last piece that is here on the slide, which is the agent file. And obviously, everybody are talking right now about the AI agents and stuff like that. And from my point of view, the work around AI agents it consists in 2 pieces, right? So first one is make sure that the AI agents are there, they are working, and they are very credible. This is one direction. And the second thing is how to make sure that AI agents are able to communicate with each other, and how can they work with each other. And they actually need to have a place where they're reaching agreements. And in order to do this, they need to discover each other, they need to sign some kind of contract between each other for the services, they need to do the settlement of this contract. Potentially they need to open the payment channel where one AI agent is paying a little bit of money to another for the continuous service. And in case something is not working, they need to have a place for disputes. And the whole reason why near-intent protocol exists is because we are seeing it as a powerhouse that is going to power all of this stuff. Because literally, this interaction through the near-intents that is written right now and optimized for just the swaps of crypto tokens, it is just the first small step into making sure that AI agents can cooperate with each other, they're able to pay each other, and they're able to execute their own intents in working with each other. So, the only thing that I can tell you after this talk, stop using your centralized exchanges, stop taking the risk of a centralized actor while you are able to make things decentralized with the assets that you traditionally were able to get an access to only on the centralized exchanges. This solution exists. This solution is called Near-Intense Protocol. Go check out it on near-intense.org. And if you encounter any issues, or if you would like to have developer support or integration support, go to our Telegram channel for everything for user support, developer support, whatever partnerships and stuff like that, it is in Telegram at near_intents. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Alex. We have a couple minutes for questions. Are there any? There are 3 questions.
Hey, yeah, you said that in the future you guys will support passkeys. I'm wondering, like, if I'm logging in just with a passkey, how can I deposit crypto into that?
Maybe you have the crypto that is sent to you by, I was telling about the peer-to-peer kind of settlement. So one of the examples here is that I can create my commitment of giving 10 USDC to anyone who is going to redeem this code. So I can send it like that. Or for example, you do not have crypto wallet, but you have your Binance account, and you on-ramped to Binance, and then you can withdraw it right now to Intents and trade something there. Or for example, within the Intents protocol, you just have the deposit address, and you can on-ramp through other on-ramps, like Transact or MoonPay or something different. You just say there that, please deposit here, and that's it. That's how actually Intents protocol can deliver to you the non-wallet, but still self-custodian crypto experience.
I think you kind of answered some of my question there, because my main question was, most people just use centralized exchanges on and off ramp. Like Binance is $1 to get in and out, and so when you compare that to, say, MoonPay, they charge like 30 or 40 basis points. Everyone, you do move like 10 grand on chain, it's quite significant. So do you have any partnerships that you're looking at, like, getting that cost down that you're going to be working on?
Yeah, so there are a bunch of kind of on-ramp solutions that are available on the Near protocol and on Aurora mainnet, right? Any of these can be used in order to integrate with Intents. Again, this is up to the front ends that are going to integrate Near Intent protocol. Once again, near-intents.org is just a reference implementation of the front end, open source. Anyone is able to use it. Probably at some point in time we're going to add an option for an on-ramp with an on-ramp provider there. Obviously looking forward to see good on-ramp solutions, but up until now the fees of the on-ramps, like crypto on-ramps, are just insane.
Thanks for the talk. How do you watch the agents for, let's say, adversarial behavior, and how do you slash them or punish them for this inappropriate behavior?
So there is no adversarial behavior here available directly in swaps of the tokens. The solvers or the market makers, they are sending to the user signed commitments that are valid for some period of time, for example, for the next like 30 seconds, that anyone who is going to settle a transaction with such a commitment is entitled to withdraw from a market maker account inside of your intent, whatever, 93,000 USDT. And in case during the execution of such a transaction, since it is just a single transaction on Near, which is atomic, within this execution of this transaction, if, for example, market maker does not have enough USDT to be paid to the user, then this transaction is just cancelled and it just fails. So there is no direct adversarial behavior, or like the behavior that is going to convert into users losing money. The thing that can potentially happen is that some market makers are going to just send random strange prices, and then the user is not going to have a great user experience because their swaps are not going to happen. Well, the way how to protect from it is just punish these market makers through disconnecting them from the solver bus and telling the front ends, for example, not to work with these market makers, and then the front ends are able to specify within their requests to the solver bus, to the solver relay, with which are the whitelisted market makers and which are blacklisted market makers.
Amazing. Thank you so much again.